adjusted his tie in the mirror, his fingers tracing the edge of his sharp jawline. At 32, success had carved definition into his features, the determined set of his mouth, the intensity in his dark eyes that made clients trust him with their million-dollar projects. The architect had built his life with the same precision he used in his designs, calculating, measuring, ensuring each piece fit perfectly. "Daddy, Daddy, look what I made." 9-year-old Lily burst into his bedroom, waving a painted canvas with vibrant splashes of color. Her brown curls bounced with each step, identical to her mother's. Stone's expression softened as he knelt to examine the artwork. "It's beautiful, sweetheart. Just like you." He pulled her close, breathing in the scent of strawberry shampoo and paint. "Mom helped me with the shading technique," Lily said proudly. "She says I have natural talent." The mention of Serafina made Stone glance at the empty bed they shared. She'd been spending more time in her studio lately, claiming inspiration struck at odd hours. The house felt different without her laughter echoing through the halls. "Where is your mother?" Stone asked, keeping his voice neutral. "In her studio. She said she needs to finish something important." Lily's face scrunched up. "She's been using a lot of dark colors lately. I liked it better when she painted flowers and butterflies." Stone nodded, filing away this information. "Why don't you go help Finn with his science project? I'll check on your mother." As Lily skipped away, 7-year-old Finn peeked around the doorframe, his observant eyes taking in his father's rigid posture. "Dad, Rosie's trying to eat my Legos again." "I am not," came the indignant squeal of his 4-year-old sister, who appeared behind Finn with plastic blocks clutched in her tiny fists. Stone scooped up Rosie, tickling her until she released the Legos. "Those aren't for eating, princess. Let's get you some real breakfast." In the kitchen, Stone efficiently managed the morning chaos, pouring cereal, packing lunches, signing permission slips. Sarah, his older sister, often remarked how he'd mastered single-parent duties despite having a spouse. The observation stung because it held truth he wasn't ready to acknowledge. "Stone?" Alex's voice came through his phone. "Got a minute?" "Hold on." Stone stepped onto the back porch, away from little ears. "What's up?" His brother's lawyer voice held an edge of concern. "Sarah mentioned Serafina's been acting strange lately. Missing family dinners, being evasive. You okay?" Stone's jaw clenched. "I'm handling it. You know what happened with Mom and Dad. I'm nothing like them." Stone cut him off. "My children will never experience what we did. Never." After hanging up, Stone headed to Serafina's studio. The door was locked, unusual for mid-morning. He heard her voice, low and intimate, followed by male laughter that didn't belong to any family member. "I can't keep living like this," Serafina was saying. "He's suffocating me with his perfect plans and schedules." "Then don't," the male voice replied. "You're too extraordinary for suburban domesticity, Sarah. Your art deserves to be seen by the world." Stone's hands curled into fists, his nails digging crescents into his palms. But he didn't burst in, didn't confront them. Instead, he pulled out his phone and recorded the conversation, his face a mask of controlled fury. That evening, David called. "Hey, need to show you something important at the office. Can you come by?" At his friend's IT company, David shifted uncomfortably. "I did something you might not like. I installed tracking software on your phone last week. Before you get angry, look at this." The screen showed text messages between Serafina and someone named Cyril. Dozens of them. Intimate. Planning. Betraying. "Delete it," Stone said quietly. "What?" "But delete the spyware. I don't want any evidence of how I got this information." Stone's voice held no emotion. "Send me copies of everything first." David studied his friend's face. "What are you going to do?" "Nothing yet. They'll make a mistake. And when they do..." Stone left the threat unfinished. The next few weeks passed in a blur of tension. Serafina grew more distant, spending nights in her studio. Stone focused on the children, shielding them from the growing storm while gathering evidence of his wife's betrayal. Then came the call. "Mr. Stone? This is Officer Martinez. There's been an accident. Your wife's car went off Miller's Ridge. We found the vehicle, but..." Stone stood at the cliff edge, staring down at the mangled guardrail. Police lights painted the scene in revolving red and blue. No body found. No blood in the car. Just a perfectly staged disappearance. Sarah appeared beside him, her hand on his shoulder. The kids are with Alex. What do you need? Stone's voice was ice. I need to destroy the people who thought they could take everything from me and walk away. We'll help you, Sarah promised. Whatever it takes. Stone nodded once, his expression carved from stone. The man who believed in second chances died with his marriage. What remained was someone who would stop at nothing to protect his children and punish those who tried to harm them. As reporters began arriving, Stone turned away from the cliff. He had preparations to make, evidence to gather, and a revenge to plan. Serafina and her lover would learn that some betrayals come with unforgivable consequences. In his pocket, his phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. I'm sorry it had to be this way. Be happy, Stone. He deleted the message without responding. Happiness wasn't his goal anymore. Justice was. And he would have it, no matter the cost. Chapter 2. Unearthing the Truth. The house was silent except for Rosie's muffled sobs through the bedroom wall. Stone sat in his home office, surrounded by blueprints and project specifications that no longer held meaning. 3 weeks had passed since Serafina's death, and the facade of normalcy was crumbling. Daddy? Lily stood in the doorway, clutching her sketchbook. I can't sleep. Stone pushed away from his desk. Come here, sweetheart. She crawled into his lap, something she hadn't done since declaring herself too old last year. I drew Mom today, she whispered, opening the sketchbook. The portrait was haunting. Serafina's face half in shadow, her eyes holding secrets. Stone marveled at his daughter's perception. You captured her perfectly, he said, keeping his voice steady. Did she leave because of me? Lily's question cut through him like a blade. Stone turned her to face him. Listen to me. Your mother's choices had nothing to do with you or your siblings. Nothing. Do you understand? Lily nodded, but her eyes held doubt. Stone made a mental note to schedule another session with the children's therapist. His phone buzzed. David again. Stone had been avoiding his calls, but tonight he needed answers. The kids are finally asleep, he told Sarah, who'd been staying over to help. I need to meet David. Sarah's expression was concerned. You sure you're ready for whatever he has to say? I'm ready for the truth. At David's office, the IT expert looked exhausted. I've been analyzing everything from before I removed the spyware. Stone, you need to see this. The computer screen filled with data, text messages, emails, bank transfers. David pulled up an audio file. They weren't just having an affair, David explained. They were planning this for months. Serafina's voice filled the room. The insurance policy is set. Once they declare me dead, Stone gets the payout. He'll be fine. He has his precious career and the kids, Cyril's smooth reply. And we'll have enough to start fresh somewhere else. You're sure about the timing? The road will be empty that night. No witnesses. The car goes over. I slip away to our meeting point. By the time they figure it out, we'll be gone. Stone's expression didn't change as he listened, but his hands gripped the chair arms until his knuckles whitened. There's more, David said quietly. Bank records show Cyril purchased plane tickets to Mexico under false names. Hotel reservations, too. They've been funneling money into offshore accounts. Can you trace them? David nodded. Already did. They're staying at a cabin near the border, waiting for the death certificate before trying to cross. Stone stood, his movement deliberate. Send me everything. And David? Thank you. What are you going to do? What I do best, architect a solution. At home, Stone spread the evidence across his desk. Sarah and Alex arrived, responding to his urgent text. Jesus, Alex muttered, examining the documents. This is premeditated fraud. Not to mention child abandonment. Sarah studied the cabin's location. It's remote. Minimal security. Easy to approach undetected. I'm not going to hurt them, Stone said, his voice cold. I'm going to destroy them legally, financially, and socially. They'll wish I had chosen violence instead. Over the next week, Stone built his case. Alex's legal expertise helped navigate the complex fraud allegations. Sarah's architectural knowledge proved invaluable in understanding the cabin's layout. Then came the confrontation. Stone parked his car a mile from the cabin and approached on foot. Through the windows, he saw them. Serafina and Cyril, laughing over wine, celebrating their clever escape. He didn't kick down the door or make a scene. He simply knocked. The look on Serafina's face when she opened the door was everything he'd imagined. She stumbled backward, wine glass shattering on the floor. "Hello, darling," Stone said pleasantly. "Surprised to see your grieving husband?" Cyril jumped up, trying to look threatening. "You need to leave." Stone pulled out his phone, starting the recording. "Actually, I think you'll want to hear my proposition." "Stone, I can explain," Serafina began. "Save it for the police." He cut her off. "Here's what's going to happen. I have evidence of your entire scheme. Insurance fraud, identity theft, child abandonment, enough to put you both away for years. Unless what?" Cyril demanded. Stone smiled, the expression never reaching his eyes. "Unless you confess. Sign the papers my lawyer is drawing up. Return every penny you stole. And most importantly, you, Serafina. Sign away all parental rights." "You can't," Serafina protested. "I can and I will. You chose this path. Now I'm choosing how it ends." Cyril laughed nervously. "You're bluffing. You have nothing." Stone played the audio recordings, showed the bank transfers, displayed the fake passports they'd purchased. With each piece of evidence, their faces grew paler. "You have 24 hours to decide," Stone said, heading for the door. "Oh, and don't bother running. The police are already watching this place." Outside, Stone called Alex. "They'll crack by morning. Have the papers ready." "Stone," his brother hesitated. "Are you sure about the parental rights?" The kids need stability, not a mother who abandoned them for an affair. "I won't let her hurt them again." He drove home in silence, his mission accomplished. The police would arrest them tomorrow, the evidence would destroy their lives, and his children would be protected from future betrayal. Sarah was waiting when he arrived. "The kids missed you at bedtime. Lily's been asking questions. Tomorrow I'll have answers for her," Stone promised. Real ones. That night, he sat in Serafina's studio, surrounded by her dark paintings. He picked up a canvas knife, testing its edge. It would be so easy to destroy everything she created, like she'd destroyed their family. Instead, he packed the art supplies away. His revenge wouldn't come through destruction, but through calculated justice. He would rebuild their lives stronger than before, without her toxic influence. The next morning, his phone rang, the police confirming Serafina and Cyril's arrest. Stone hung up and went to wake his children. It was time for difficult conversations, but he would protect them through the storm ahead. Because that's what a father does. He shields his children from harm, even when that harm comes from someone who should have loved them most. And he ensures those who bring that harm face consequences they'll never forget. Chapter 3. The Price of Betrayal. The courthouse buzzed with anticipation. Journalists packed the benches, eager to document the scandalous case of the architect's wife who faked her death. Alex adjusted his tie, reviewing his notes one final time. "The defense will try to paint her as a victim," he warned Stone. "A woman trapped in an oppressive marriage, seeking freedom." Stone's expression remained impassive. "Let them try. The evidence speaks for itself." The bailiff called for order as Judge Harrison entered. Serafina and Cyril sat at the defense table, both looking significantly less polished than in their previous lives. Prison jumpsuits replaced designer clothes. "Your Honor," Alex began, his voice commanding attention, "the evidence will show that the defendants engaged in a calculated scheme of fraud, endangerment, and abandonment. This wasn't a desperate act of escape. It was a coldly planned betrayal." The defense attorney, Patricia Mills, stood. "The prosecution wants to villainize a woman who felt trapped in an emotionally controlled environment. Your client abandoned 3 children," Alex interrupted. "She staged an accident that required emergency resources, traumatized her family, and attempted to defraud insurance companies, all while having an affair with her co-defendant." Judge Harrison's gaze sharpened. "Proceed with your evidence, Mr. Stone." Alex methodically presented their case. Bank records, text messages, audio recordings, travel documents. With each piece, Serafina seemed to shrink further into herself. During a recess, Sarah found Stone in the hallway. Lily's teacher called. She got into a fight at school. Stone's jaw tightened. What happened? A classmate said her mother left because Lily wasn't good enough. She broke the girl's nose. I'll handle it. Stone pulled out his phone to text the children's therapist. Back in court, Cyril took the stand. His usual arrogance had diminished under prison conditions. Miss Stone approached me, he claimed. She was desperate to escape her controlling husband. Alex's cross-examination was brutal. Mr. Laurent, how many other married women have you helped escape their marriages? Our investigation found at least 3 similar situations in the past 5 years. Cyril's composure cracked. That's not, I mean. And how many of those women's bank accounts did you drain before disappearing? The defense objected, but the damage was done. When Serafina took the stand, she tried a different approach. I love my children, she insisted, tears flowing. I never meant to hurt them, yet you left them without a word, Alex countered. No goodbye, no explanation. You let them believe you were dead while you planned to start a new life with your lover. How is that love? In the audience, Stone watched the performance with disgust. He'd seen these tears before, when she wanted a larger studio, when she needed more artistic freedom, when she claimed he didn't understand her creative spirit. Mrs. Stone, Alex continued, his voice steady, let's discuss the insurance policy you took out 3 months before your disappearance. Serafina's tears dried instantly. That was routine financial planning, was it? Because our evidence shows you increased the payout amount significantly just weeks before staging your accident. Alex approached the bench with documents. Your Honor, Exhibit C shows the policy changes, all made after the defendant began her affair with Mr. Laurent. The media frenzy intensified. Reporters scribbled furiously as Alex revealed the elaborate financial scheme. Serafina had planned everything: the insurance fraud, the false identity documents, the offshore accounts. During another recess, David found Stone in the courthouse cafeteria. Channel 7 wants an interview. They're calling it the betrayal of the year. No interviews, Stone said firmly. The kids see enough of this circus on their own. Speaking of which, David hesitated. There's something you should know. Someone's been posting details about the case on social media. Personal stuff about the kids. Stone's expression darkened. Find out who. Already did. It's Cyril's sister. She's trying to spin the story, make Serafina look like a victim of domestic control. Stone pulled out his phone, dialing Alex. We need to add witness intimidation and harassment to the charges. I want a gag order. The afternoon session brought Cyril's final unraveling. Under Alex's relentless questioning, he admitted the entire plot had been his idea. Targeting wealthy, unhappy wives, convincing them to leave their families, then draining their accounts. And Serafina was just your latest mark, wasn't she? Alex pressed. She was different, Cyril protested. We're in love. Like you were in love with Mrs. Henderson in Seattle? Or Mrs. Patterson in Denver, both of whom you left penniless after convincing them to abandon their families? The jury's expressions hardened. Serafina stared at Cyril, realization dawning on her face. Judge Harrison's verdict was decisive. 13 years for both defendants: fraud, endangerment, conspiracy, and child abandonment. The gavel's bang echoed through the courtroom like a death knell for Serafina's dreams of freedom. Stone left the courthouse through a back entrance, avoiding the press. Sarah waited in the car. That's quite a sentence, she said quietly. It's not enough. Stone stared out the window. 13 years won't erase what they did to my children. At home, Finn was building a complex Lego structure. Dad, is Mom going to jail? Stone sat beside his son, noting how his hands trembled slightly as he placed each brick. Yes, she is. For a long time. Good. Finn's voice was small but firm. She made Lily cry. Nobody's allowed to make my sister cry. Stone pulled his son close, recognizing his own protective instincts in the boy. That's right, buddy. We protect our family. Later that night, after the children were asleep, Stone found himself in his office, staring at an old photograph. It showed their family at the beach last summer, everyone smiling, seeming happy. But now he noticed things he'd missed before. How Serafina stood slightly apart, how her smile didn't quite reach her eyes. Sarah found him there, the photo in his hands. You can't torture yourself with the past. I'm not. Stone placed the photo face down in a drawer. I'm reminding myself why I'll never trust again. The media will move on eventually, Sarah assured him. Find some new scandal to obsess over. I don't care about the media. Stone's voice was cold. I care about making sure those two never have a chance to hurt my children again. The next morning brought a letter from prison, Serafina's elegant handwriting on the envelope. Stone dropped it unopened into the shredder. He had a company to run, children to raise, and a future to build. The past could burn. In his daughter's art room, Lily was painting again, bright colors replacing the dark ones she'd used since her mother's disappearance. That's beautiful, Stone said, watching her work. It's us, Lily explained, pointing to 4 figures. See? You, me, Finn, and Rosie. Our real family. Stone squeezed her shoulder gently. Our real family, he agreed. The only one we need. Outside, reporters still camped at the end of the driveway, hungry for more details of the scandal. But inside these walls, Stone was building something stronger than betrayal, a fortress of love and protection around his children, ensuring they would never again be vulnerable to those who didn't deserve their trust. Chapter 4. The Long Wait. Stone Architectural Group announces new downtown development project, the headline read. Stone set down his tablet, observing the bustling office through the glass walls of his corner office. 13 years had transformed both him and his company. At 45, success had refined his features into something harder, more imposing. His intercom buzzed. Mr. Stone, your daughter Lily is here. Send her in. He stood as Lily entered, now 22 and carrying her mother's artistic talent with none of her instability. Dad. She hugged him, her paint-stained fingers contrasting with his crisp suit. I need to tell you something important. Stone's jaw tightened imperceptibly. Those words never brought good news. Liam proposed. Lily held up her hand, displaying a modest diamond ring. I said yes. Stone studied his daughter's face, searching for any doubt, any hesitation. Are you sure about this? He's not Mom, Dad. Lily's voice held a gentle rebuke. He's good, stable, honest. Everything she wasn't. Stone moved to his window, looking out over the city he'd helped shape. Have you told Finn and Rosie? Finn's running analytics on Liam's entire family history as we speak. Lily laughed. And Rosie's already planning the bridesmaids' dresses. At 20, Finn had channeled his observant nature into software engineering, creating security systems that rivaled military-grade protection. 17-year-old Rosie had grown into a vibrant young woman, though her nightmares about abandonment had never fully faded. I assume you've met his family? Stone turned back to his daughter. The Carlsons are good people, Dad. They run that tech startup downtown. Clean record, solid reputation. Lily touched his arm. I know you've already had David run background checks. Stone didn't deny it. David remained his most trusted ally, his tech expertise now focused on protecting Stone's expanded empire. Mr. Stone, his assistant interrupted through the intercom. Mr. Davidson from the prison board is on line 1. Lily's expression shifted. Is it about? Go home, sweetheart. We'll celebrate your engagement properly tonight. Stone's voice was gentle with his daughter, but his eyes had turned to steel. After Lily left, Stone picked up the phone. Davidson. What news? She's eligible for release in 3 months. Good behavior, participation in rehabilitation programs. The board's likely to approve. Stone's free hand curled into a fist. And Cyril? Released last week. Different facility, different board. Keep me updated. Stone hung up, then dialed another number. David? I need everything you can find on Cyril's movements since release. And increased security on all family members. Sarah arrived an hour later, blueprints tucked under her arm. Their architectural firms often collaborated now, a dynasty built from betrayal's ashes. Lily told me about the engagement, she said, studying her brother. And the prison board? 3 months. Stone's voice was flat. Alex can file for restraining orders, Sarah suggested. Keep her away from the wedding. She'll find a way around them. Stone pulled up security footage on his laptop. She always does. The footage showed Cyril leaving prison, thinner but still carrying that arrogant swagger. Stone had monitored both of them throughout their sentences, watching, waiting. That evening, his children gathered for dinner, a weekly tradition he'd maintained through their darkest days. Finn brought his laptop, as usual, lines of code reflecting in his glasses. "I've upgraded our home security," he announced, between bites. "Added facial recognition and motion sensors. Because of Mom?" Rosie asked quietly. At 17, she remembered little of Serafina, but the wound of abandonment ran deep. "Because I protect my family," Stone corrected. "Always. Liam's family wants to meet you," Lily ventured. "They're hosting an engagement dinner next week." Stone nodded once. "I'll have Alex review the prenup first." "Dad," Lily protested. "Non-negotiable." His tone brooked no argument. "I won't risk your future on trust alone." Later, after the children had gone, Stone retreated to his study. The walls held architectural awards, news clippings chronicling his rise. Success built on the foundation of betrayal. His phone buzzed. "David." "Stone, Cyril's been asking questions. Trying to contact former associates." "Let him." Stone's voice held no emotion. "The more he moves, the more mistakes he'll make." "And Serafina?" "Keep watching. She'll reach out to the kids first." "She always was predictable." Stone opened his safe, removing a file he'd maintained for 13 years. Evidence, contingency plans, strategies, weapons waiting to be deployed. Sarah found him there, still reviewing documents at midnight. "You need sleep, little brother." "I need to be ready." Stone didn't look up. "They're coming back, Sarah. And this time, I won't wait for them to strike first." "The kids are grown now," she reminded him. "They can handle seeing her." "Can they?" Stone finally met her gaze. Lily still flinches when someone mentions mothers. Finn buries himself in code because numbers don't abandon you. "Rosie." He stopped, jaw-clenching. "You've given them strength," Sarah insisted. "They're survivors like you. They shouldn't have had to survive their own mother." The next morning, Stone drove to Miller's Ridge, where it had all begun. The guardrail had been replaced, no trace remaining of Serafina's staged accident. But he remembered. Oh, how he remembered. His phone rang. "Alex." "The prenup's ready," his brother said without preamble. "And I've prepared restraining order paperwork, just in case." "Good." Stone watched the sunrise paint the ridge in gold. "We'll need everything in place before she's released." "Stone." Alex hesitated. "The kids are strong enough to handle this. They shouldn't have to." Stone's voice turned brutal. "I won't let her hurt them again. Whatever it takes." The ridge held no answers, but it strengthened his resolve. Serafina and Cyril thought 13 years would soften him, make him vulnerable to manipulation again. They would learn that time had only honed his edge. Chapter 5. The Uninvited Guest. The St. Regis Hotel's grand ballroom sparkled with elegant decorations. Stone adjusted his tie, watching the wedding guests filter in through strategically placed security cameras on his phone. David had installed the system personally, ensuring no unwanted visitors could slip through. "Dad." Lily appeared in her bridal suite doorway, radiant in white. "Is everything okay?" Stone tucked away his phone, taking in his daughter's appearance. She'd chosen a classic design, her dark hair arranged in intricate braids. No trace of Serafina's dramatic flair. "You're beautiful, sweetheart." He kissed her forehead, careful not to disturb her makeup. "You're watching the cameras again." It wasn't a question. Force of habit. "She won't come," Lily said, but uncertainty threaded through her voice. "She can't." Stone didn't respond. He'd received confirmation of Serafina's release 2 weeks ago. David's surveillance showed she'd taken an apartment downtown, making no attempts to contact them. Yet, Sarah appeared, elegant in her maid of honor dress. "They're ready to start." She caught Stone's eye. "Alex and I have the perimeter covered." The ceremony proceeded perfectly. Liam's vows were sincere, his family beaming with approval. Stone watched his daughter's joy, remembering his own wedding day. He'd been so naive then. At the reception, Finn manned his laptop from a corner table, monitoring security feeds. Rosie danced with the groomsmen, but her eyes regularly scanned the crowd. They'd inherited his vigilance. Mr. Stone. Liam's father approached, champagne in hand. Magnificent wedding. Though I noticed the extra security. Standard procedure for high-profile events, Stone replied smoothly. My company handles sensitive projects. The explanation satisfied most people. They didn't need to know about the plainclothes security or the facial recognition software scanning each guest. Then it happened. Finn's voice crackled through Stone's earpiece. Dad, north entrance. It's her. Stone turned slowly. Serafina stood in the doorway, 13 years older but still striking. Prison hadn't dimmed her presence. Guests fell silent as they recognized her from old news stories. The scandal queen returned. Security's moving in, Alex murmured, appearing at Stone's elbow. Wait. Stone's command was soft but absolute. He'd prepared for this moment for 13 years. Serafina took a step forward. Her designer dress suggested she'd found resources since her release. She'd always been good at landing on her feet. The music stuttered to a stop. Lily, dancing with Liam, froze mid-step. Her face drained of color. Stone moved with deliberate calm, intercepting Serafina before she could reach the dance floor. The guests pretended not to watch while recording on their phones. You look stunning, darling. Serafina's voice carried the same cultured warmth. A mother should be part of her daughter's wedding. A mother should be part of her daughter's life, Stone replied, voice pitched for her ears alone. You forfeited that right 13 years ago. The only reason you're not being dragged out is because I won't ruin my daughter's day. Make a scene and you'll regret it. Serafina's practiced smile faltered. I have rights. You have nothing. Stone's whisper held Arctic chill. But I'm feeling generous. You can stay, quietly, in the back. Try to approach Lily, and I'll bury you so deep in legal battles you'll wish you were back in prison. Color stained her cheeks. Still controlling everything, Stone? Still manipulating everyone, Serafina? Their quiet exchange masked lethal intent. Around them, the party gradually resumed, though phones kept recording. Lily approached, Liam's supportive arm around her waist. Stone noted his daughter's straight spine, lifted chin. Pride surged through him. Mother. Lily's voice held no warmth. I didn't send an invitation. I couldn't miss my only daughter's wedding. Serafina reached for an embrace. Lily stepped back. My father raised me. Alone. You're a stranger who shares my DNA. Serafina's mask cracked slightly. If you'd let me explain. The time for explanations was 13 years ago. Lily's tone matched her father's in steel. You can stay for the ceremony. Don't expect more. Stone watched his daughter return to her guests, head high. She'd grown stronger than Serafina could imagine. She hates me, Serafina murmured. She survived you, Stone corrected. We all did. The reception continued. Serafina sat at a back table, watching her daughter dance, laugh, celebrate with the family she'd abandoned. Stone monitored her through the security feeds, noting how she declined food but drank steadily. Want me to spill wine on her dress? Rosie appeared at his elbow, eyes glinting mischievously. Stone's lips twitched. Tempting. But we're being civilized. Finn's running background checks on everyone she's contacted since release. Good man. When the photographer called for family photos, Serafina rose hopefully. Stone's slight head shake stopped her. The photos would show the real family, Stone, his children, Sarah, and Alex. The ones who stayed. She'll try again, Sarah murmured as they posed. This was too easy. Let her. Stone watched Serafina through his peripheral vision. She'll learn that 13 years only made us stronger. Later, as Lily and Liam prepared to leave for their honeymoon, Stone noticed Serafina approaching again. But Finn and Rosie smoothly intercepted, a defensive formation years in practice. Goodbye, mother. Finn's voice held polite dismissal. Safe trip home. Rosie said nothing, but her stare could have frozen flame. Stone watched his ex-wife retreat, defeated by the united front of the family she'd discarded. The children she'd abandoned had grown into a fortress. As the newlyweds departed in their decorated car, Stone caught Serafina's last desperate look at their daughter. For a moment, he almost pitied her. Almost. But he remembered Lily's tears, Finn's silence, Rosie's nightmares. Some betrayals didn't deserve forgiveness. Tomorrow, he'd activate the next phase of his plans. Tonight belonged to Lily's happiness. Dad. Rosie tugged his sleeve. She's gone. Stone nodded, but he knew better. This was just the beginning. Chapter 6. Manipulations and Setbacks. The letter arrived a week after Lily's honeymoon began. Expensive stationery, Serafina's elegant handwriting. Stone recognized her tactics before opening the envelope. Playing the victim again? Sarah examined the letter in his office. Some things never change. She sent one to each of the kids. Stone's voice held cold amusement. Finn created a program to scan them for manipulative language patterns. 97% match with her prison correspondence. The letters painted a tragic portrait. A mother forced away by an emotionally distant husband. A woman who'd made one desperate mistake. She begged for understanding, for a chance to explain. Lily called me crying, Stone said, shredding Serafina's carefully crafted words. Not from pain, from anger. She finally sees through her mother's manipulation. His phone buzzed. David's urgent code. Problem at the Richardson project site. You need to see this. At the construction site of Stone's latest development, chaos reigned. Equipment damaged, materials sabotaged, walls covered in spray-painted accusations. Stone destroys lives. Security footage? Stone demanded. David pulled up his tablet. Cameras went dark for exactly 10 minutes last night. Professional job. Cyril. Stone examined a twisted support beam. He always did think he was an artist. Police won't have enough evidence to charge him. They don't need to. Stone dialed Alex. Start the paperwork for project delays. Document everything. More attacks followed. Rumors spread through the architectural community. Stone cut corners. Stone bribed officials. Stone destroyed competition. Clients began calling, questioning contracts. 3 lawsuits this morning, Alex reported during their emergency family meeting. All citing anonymous sources about safety violations. Stone remained unnaturally calm. Sarah, how quickly can your firm take over our pending projects? Already preparing the transfers. His sister pulled up documentation. But Stone, your reputation, will survive. Cyril's not as clever as he thinks. Finn spun his laptop around. He's been meeting Serafina. I caught them on surveillance at that coffee shop downtown. Stone examined the footage. His ex-wife and her former lover, heads bent together over plans. Some things never changed. Dad. Lily's worried face appeared on Finn's video chat. I just heard about the lawsuits. Is this because she came to the wedding? Focus on your honeymoon, sweetheart. Stone's voice gentled for his daughter. I've handled worse than a vindictive artist with delusions of revenge. After the call ended, Stone turned to David. Tell me about Cyril's finances. He's burning through his sister's money, David reported. She mortgaged her house to fund his fresh start. He spent most of it on lawyers and private investigators. Investigating what? You. The kids. Looking for weak points. Stone's laugh held no humor. He won't find any. Not anymore. The attacks escalated. Stone's clients received anonymous emails detailing the scandal from 13 years ago, twisted to paint him as the villain. Projects were delayed, contracts canceled. Your Q3 projections are devastating, Sarah warned, reviewing the numbers. Even with my firm absorbing your clients, money doesn't matter. Stone stared out at his diminished empire. Let Cyril think he's winning. Rosie stormed in, face flushed. She ambushed me at school. Started crying about missing my childhood, begging forgiveness. In front of everyone. Stone's expression turned dangerous. What did you do? Told her that real mothers don't abandon their children for con artists. Rosie's chin lifted. Then I called security. That's my girl. The situation reached its climax on a rainy Tuesday. Stone left a project meeting, his children and siblings in the car. They'd taken to traveling together, safer in numbers. The impact came from nowhere. Cyril's sports car slamming into their SUV's side. Metal screamed. Glass shattered. Stone's security training kicked in, controlling their spin. When the vehicle stopped, he did a rapid assessment. Everyone okay? Shaken affirmatives. Stone touched the blood trickling from a cut on his cheek, then turned to face Cyril approaching through the rain. Attacking my family directly? Stone's voice could have frozen hell. Bad move. Cyril brandished a phone. I've documented everything. Your harassment, your threats, how you turned everyone against us. The media will love it. The media? Stone stepped closer. You just committed assault with a deadly weapon. Endangered my children. And it's all on my dash cam. Police sirens wailed in the distance. Cyril's face shifted as he realized his mistake. This is your only warning, Stone said softly. Come near my family again, and prison will seem like a vacation. Later, reviewing security footage with David, Stone's expression turned calculating. They're getting desperate. Sloppy. Want me to leak Cyril's history with other women? The fraud allegations? Not yet. Stone touched the butterfly bandage on his cheek. Let them think this rattled us. Let them push harder. They'll try something bigger. I'm counting on it. Stone pulled up his calendar. Set up a meeting with the full team. It's time to end this. The pieces were in place. Serafina and Cyril thought they were breaking him, but they'd played directly into his hands. Stone's phone chimed. Lily sending a photo from her honeymoon. His children were happy, successful, strong. No one would take that from them again. Let the real game begin. Chapter 7. The Final Gambit. We end this now. Stone's voice cut through the tension in his private conference room. Sarah, Alex, and David sat around the table, folders spread between them. The car accident had left more than a scratch on Stone's face. It had ignited a cold fury he'd contained for 13 years. Cyril's getting reckless, David reported, pulling up surveillance footage. He's contacted 3 of his old marks, women he scammed before Serafina, and our ex-sister-in-law. Sarah's tone dripped contempt. Playing the victim. Alex shuffled through papers. She's hired a PR firm, trying to spin her story. Misunderstood artist trapped in a controlling marriage angle. Stone's laugh held no warmth. Let her try. David, what did you find in Cyril's financials? Better question is what didn't I find? David projected spreadsheets onto the wall. Tax evasion, money laundering through art galleries, identity theft. He's been busy since release. The galleries? Stone leaned forward. Fronts for selling forged artwork. He's not just copying famous pieces. He's reproducing works by regional artists, then undermining their reputations when buyers discover they're fake. Stone nodded once. Send everything to our contact at the FBI's Art Crime Division. Anonymously. What about Serafina? Sarah asked. She's been meeting with journalists, telling her side. Let her talk. Stone pulled up his own files. The more attention she draws, the better. Alex, how's the restraining order? Judge denied it. Not enough evidence of direct threats. But I've documented each contact attempt. One wrong move. Stone's phone buzzed. Lily. Sweetheart. Dad. She sent me another letter. His daughter's voice trembled with rage. Says you manipulated everyone, that she was the real victim. She wants to meet, to explain everything. Keep the letter. Don't respond. Stone's tone gentled. How's the honeymoon? We're extending it. Liam thinks distance might help right now. Smart man. Stone ended the call, turning to his team. Time for phase 2. David raised an eyebrow. The offshore accounts? Track them. All of them. I want to know where Cyril's hiding his money, who's helping him move it. Sarah studied her brother. You've been planning this since before they were released. 13 years. Stone pulled up building plans on the conference screen. I own this property through a shell corporation. Perfect for our needs. The blueprint showed an abandoned art gallery, strategically located near Serafina's new apartment. You're going to dangle bait, Alex realized. Let them think they've found your weakness. Cyril's desperate to rebuild his reputation in the art world. Serafina needs validation for her misunderstood artist narrative. Stone's smile was predatory. We're giving them both. David whistled low. A trap within a trap. But how do we ensure they take it? Because we're going to let them think it's their idea. Stone brought up more documents. Sarah's firm is publicly taking over my contracts. The media will spin it as my company failing. Rumors about financial troubles, professional breakdown. They'll think you're vulnerable. Alex nodded. That their plan to destroy you is working. Meanwhile, Stone continued, anonymous tips will lead Cyril to discover the gallery's true ownership. He'll think he's cleverly uncovered my secret venture. Sarah caught on. And Serafina? She's already trying to rewrite our history. Paint herself as the trapped artist who escaped my control. Stone's voice held steel. So we'll let her believe she's exposing me, turning public opinion against the controlling husband who crushed her creativity. While we document everything, David added, building a case that proves they haven't changed. Still running the same cons, still manipulating everyone around them. Stone stood, moving to the window. The city sprawled below, unaware of the game unfolding in its midst. Cyril will approach the gallery manager, our undercover agent, with an offer to authenticate artwork. He can't resist the chance to sabotage something he thinks is mine. And when we reveal the forgeries are his? Alex asked. The FBI will handle that part. Stone turned back to his team. But first, we need Serafina to make her move. David pulled up her recent photos. She's been visiting her old art contacts, claiming she's ready for a comeback exhibition, which our gallery will offer to host. Stone nodded. A sympathetic owner, giving the wronged artist a platform to tell her story through her work. She'll jump at it, Sarah predicted. Her ego won't let her resist. And then, Alex pressed. Then we let them dig their own graves. Stone's expression was carved from granite. They think they're destroying me? They're about to learn what real destruction looks like. The team spent hours refining details, anticipating angles, closing loopholes. Stone had waited 13 years for this moment. Nothing would go wrong. Remember, he warned as they prepared to leave, they'll be watching all of you too. We maintain the fiction that I'm cracking under pressure, that their attacks are working. Sarah hugged him fiercely. Be careful, little brother. They're desperate people. They're predictable people, Stone corrected. Pride, greed, and spite. Same weapons they've always used. This time, those weapons will destroy them instead. Later, alone in his office, Stone reviewed the surveillance photos. Serafina and Cyril, heads together at their coffee shop meetings, thinking they were so clever, so righteous in their revenge. His phone buzzed, a text from Finn. Mom tried to hack my work email. Amateur move. I traced her attempt, documented everything. Stone smiled. His children had learned well, trust, but verify. Love, but protect. His own ruthlessness, tempered by wisdom they'd earned too young. The trap was set. Soon, Serafina and Cyril would learn that 13 years hadn't weakened him. It had honed him into something far more dangerous than the man they'd betrayed. Let them come. Let them think they'd found his breaking point. They were about to discover what real breaking felt like. Chapter 8. The trap closes. The gallery buzzed with anticipation. Stone watched through security feeds as Serafina arranged her paintings, dark, twisted pieces that screamed of victimhood and persecution. The local arts community had turned out in force, drawn by rumors of scandal and redemption. She took the bait perfectly, David murmured through Stone's earpiece. Cyril's here too, posing as her art authenticator. Alex? Stone touched his comm link. FBI's in position. They're waiting for my signal. Stone adjusted his tie, studying his reflection in his office window. The media had been reporting on his company's decline for weeks. Carefully planted stories about missed deadlines, lost contracts, erratic behavior. The perfect lure. Mr. Stone? His assistant appeared. They're ready. The drive to the gallery felt like the calm before an execution. Sarah met him at the side entrance, her face perfectly arranged in concerned sister mode. You don't have to be here, she whispered, playing her part. The media's savage enough already. Oh, I wouldn't miss this. Stone's voice carried just enough tremor to suggest a man on the edge. Inside, the gallery hummed with whispers. Serafina held court near her centerpiece, a massive canvas depicting a cage made of architectural blueprints. Subtle.
Stone.
Cyril's smile dripped false sympathy. Surprised to see you here. Though I suppose you couldn't resist one last attempt to control your ex-wife's narrative. Just supporting the arts, Stone replied, his hand shaking slightly as he reached for a champagne flute. Lovely work, Serafina. Very revealing. She preened under the attention. The truth deserves to be told. These pieces represent my journey from imprisonment to freedom. Is that what you call abandoning your children? The words escaped as if against his will. Perfect. Murmurs rippled through the crowd. Serafina's eyes gleamed with triumph. You see, she addressed the onlookers. Always trying to weaponize our children. This is exactly what I escaped. Speaking of weapons, Cyril stepped forward. I've been examining these pieces. Fascinating technique. Almost familiar. Stone swayed slightly. What are you implying? Only that some of these elements bear striking resemblance to works I've authenticated recently. Works that turned out to be forgeries. Cyril's voice carried. Makes one wonder about the authenticity of your everything. The trap was baited. Now to spring it. You would know about forgeries, Stone slurred, fumbling his phone. Tell me, how many galleries have you scammed since release? I think you've had enough champagne. Sarah tried to lead him away. You're making a scene. No. Stone shoved her off, pitch perfect in his apparent breakdown. They destroyed my marriage, my reputation, my company, and now they dare stand here, playing victim? Security, Cyril called smoothly. I believe Mr. Stone needs assistance leaving. Oh, someone's leaving. Stone straightened, dropping the drunk act. Now, Alex. The gallery doors opened. FBI agents streamed in, led by Alex and David. Cyril Loron, the lead agent, announced, You're under arrest for fraud, money laundering, and trafficking in forged artwork. Cyril's face drained of color. This is ridiculous. I'm an authenticator who's been authenticating his own forgeries. David stepped forward, presenting evidence. We have proof you've been forging regional artists' work, authenticating the fakes, then selling originals on the black market. And you, Alex turned to Serafina, have been knowingly exhibiting forged artwork. These pieces? Stolen techniques from artists whose work your partner forged. Serafina spun to Stone. You set this up?
No.
Stone's voice rang with authority. You did. Both of you. So eager to destroy me that you walked right into your own trap. The media erupted in camera flashes as Cyril and Serafina were led away in handcuffs. Their protests fell on deaf ears as evidence was presented. Offshore accounts, forged certificates, falsified provenances. Your own greed condemned you, Stone told them quietly.
Again.
Later, in his office, his team gathered for a final debrief. They'll serve maximum sentences, Alex confirmed. Art fraud carries steep penalties, plus violations of their previous release conditions. Sarah poured champagne. Real celebration this time. The media's already rewriting their narrative. Poor, persecuted Serafina is now a willing conspirator in an international art fraud scheme. And Stone Industries? David grinned. We'll make a miraculous recovery once Sarah's firm discovers the troubles were greatly exaggerated. Stone allowed himself a small smile. Amazing what proper management can accomplish. His phone lit up, messages from his children. They'd watched the arrest footage. That's my dad, Rosie had written. No one messes with his family twice. Finn's compiled digital evidence of their entire scheme, David reported. Ironclad proof they haven't changed. Stone nodded, satisfaction settling in his bones. They thought 13 years would make me vulnerable. Instead, it gave me time to plan their complete destruction. Ruthless, Sarah observed. They earned it. Stone's voice held no remorse. Some debts can only be paid in full. The city lights blinked on as dusk fell. Somewhere, Serafina and Cyril sat in separate cells, finally understanding the price of betraying Stone's trust. He'd promised consequences 13 years ago. A Stone always kept his promises. Chapter 9. The Unforgiving Peace. 6 months after the gallery raid, Stone stood in an empty apartment, watching the realtor hand keys to a subdued Serafina. The conditions of her restricted release required stable housing and employment, both of which he'd arranged through shell companies. Your furniture arrives tomorrow, he informed her, voice businesslike. The gallery down the street needs a part-time receptionist. Start Monday. Serafina's fingers clutched the keys. Why are you doing this? Because prison didn't work last time. Stone's eyes were cold. This way, I can ensure you never come near my family again. They're my children too. They stopped being your children the day you chose Cyril over them. Stone moved to the door. The apartment's month to month. One misstep, one attempt to contact them without their explicit permission, and you're out. Understand? She nodded, defeated. The proud artist reduced to accepting charity from the man she tried to destroy. Twice. At his office, Lily waited with news. I'm pregnant. Stone's face softened. The transformation only his children could produce. Have you told your siblings? Finn's already designing a security system for the nursery. Lily laughed. Rosie's planning the baby shower, though she's supposed to be studying for finals. And your mother? Lily's expression hardened. She's not part of this family. You're the only parent I need. The only one who stayed. Stone squeezed her hand, pride mixing with old pain. His children had learned his hardest lesson. Trust must be earned, and once broken, it stays broken. Speaking of family, Lily continued, Sarah's engagement party next month? Already handled. Stone pulled up plans on his tablet. Private venue, triple security, restricted guest list. Dad. Lily's voice held gentle reproach. You can relax now. They can't hurt us anymore. That's because I don't relax. Stone's tone was firm. Later, reviewing quarterly reports, Stone received an alert from David. Cyril had attempted suicide in prison after learning his sister had disowned him, refusing to fund another appeal. Want me to suppress the news? David asked. No. Stone's voice held no sympathy. Let him live with the consequences of his choices. Like we all do. The days settled into a new rhythm. Stone's company flourished, absorbing the contracts Sarah's firm had protected. His children thrived, Lily's art gallery opening to acclaim, Finn's software company attracting major investors, Rosie's acceptance to law school. Serafina remained contained in her carefully constructed cage of limited options and monitored movements. Stone's network of shell companies controlled her housing, employment, even her art supplies. A prison without bars, built by the man she'd once called controlling. You're being cruel, Sarah observed during one of their strategy meetings. I'm being thorough, Stone corrected. She abandoned her children for an art fraud scheme. Twice. This isn't cruelty. It's consequences. The morning of Sarah's wedding, Stone visited his usual spot on Miller's Ridge. The replaced guardrail gleamed in the dawn light, no trace remaining of that long-ago betrayal. His phone chimed, a group text from his children. They'd started a breakfast tradition on significant days, gathering to fortify themselves against memories. At the restaurant, Finn demonstrated his latest security innovation while Rosie practiced her law school admission essay. Lily rested her hands on her growing belly, describing the nursery mural she was designing. I saw her yesterday, Rosie mentioned quietly, walking to work. She looked small. Good, Finn said flatly. Her choices, her consequences. Stone studied his children, strong, successful, scarred but not broken. They'd inherited his ruthlessness, tempered by the love he'd never withheld. Speaking of consequences, Lily smiled. Liam's family is investing in Finn's company. Proper contracts, of course. Of course, Stone nodded approvingly. Trust, but verify, the family motto. That evening, watching Sarah dance at her wedding, Stone felt something settle in his soul. Not forgiveness, never that, but acceptance of what betrayal had forged them into. A family bound by choice rather than obligation, stronger for knowing their weaknesses. David found him by the security monitors. Old habits. Perimeters clear. She didn't try to crash this one. She won't. Stone's certainty was absolute. She finally understands. In his office the next day, Stone reviewed his empire. Buildings risen from betrayal's ashes, success built on broken trust. The city sprawled below, unaware of the quiet war he'd waged to protect his own. A message from Serafina. The children deserve to know I've changed. Stone deleted it without responding. Some changes came too late. His intercom buzzed. Mr. Stone? Your daughter's ultrasound appointment. He gathered his coat, pausing at the window. The man reflected there was different from the one who'd stood on Miller's Ridge 13 years ago. Harder, colder, stronger. Serafina had called him unforgiving. She was right. But his children were safe. His family whole. His enemies neutralized. Some might call it cruel. Stone called it justice. The echo of betrayal would always haunt them. But they'd learn to use its lessons, to build foundations strong enough to withstand any storm. Stone smiled faintly. Time to meet his grandchild. The next generation he would teach to trust carefully, love fiercely, and never forget that some betrayals leave scars that serve as armor. That was his legacy. Not forgiveness, but protection. Not weakness, but carefully cultivated strength. And he'd never apologize for it. Epilogue. 10 years later. Stone Architectural Group's new headquarters dominated the city skyline. Its innovative design a testament to the empire Stone had built from betrayal's ashes. At 55, Stone's presence commanded even more respect, his reputation for ruthless excellence drawing clients from across the globe. Grandpa! 5-year-old Emma's voice echoed through his office as she burst in, her mother Lily following with an apologetic smile. At 32, Lily had become a renowned artist, her work displayed in prestigious galleries worldwide, though never in the small gallery where her mother still worked as a receptionist. Board meeting in 5 minutes, his assistant reminded him. Reschedule it. Stone lifted Emma onto his lap. My granddaughter takes priority. Emma proudly displayed her drawing, an architectural sketch that showed promising talent. Daddy helped, but I designed it. Liam appeared in the doorway, successful tech entrepreneur and devoted father. His partnership with Finn had transformed both their companies into industry leaders. Speaking of design, Lily settled into a chair. Finn's security system caught someone trying to access Emma's school records. Stone's expression hardened. Serafina? Her third attempt this year. Lily's voice held no emotion. The school board approved our request to flag unauthorized access attempts. 20 years had passed since Serafina's first betrayal, 10 since her second downfall, yet she still made periodic attempts to insert herself into their lives. Stone's carefully constructed constraints kept her contained. The same apartment, the same job, her movements monitored through the companies he controlled. How's Cyril enjoying his extended stay at federal prison? Liam asked, knowing the answer. Stone's lip curled slightly. After the gallery sting, Cyril had faced additional charges for attempting to run another art fraud scheme from prison. His sentence now extended well into his old age. Dad! Finn's arrival interrupted them. At 27, he'd grown into a tech mogul whose security systems protected governments and corporations worldwide. You need to see this. His tablet displayed footage of Serafina meeting with a journalist. She's writing a book, Finn explained. Trying to tell her side again. Let her. Stone's voice held cold amusement. Alex already has injunctions prepared. She signed away her right to publish anything about us in exchange for that apartment. The family dynamics had solidified over the years. Lily's art gallery specialized in supporting authentic emerging artists, a deliberate contrast to her mother's fraud. Finn's security empire grew from his childhood determination to protect his family. And Rosie, now 24, had followed her Uncle Alex into law, specializing in prosecuting financial crimes. Uncle Alex is taking me to court next week, Emma announced proudly. For career day. Stone smiled at his granddaughter's innocence, even as his mind cataloged the security measures Alex would implement for the visit. 2 decades hadn't softened his protective instincts. Sarah, now head of her own architectural dynasty, collaborated regularly with Stone's firm. Their siblings' bond had only strengthened through adversity. Her own children played with Emma, cousins growing up in a fortress of family loyalty. The Anderson contract came through, Lily mentioned, changing subjects. They specifically requested both Stone and Marshall firms. The family's business empire had expanded strategically. Stone Industries handled major commercial and government projects. Sarah's Marshall Architecture specialized in sustainable design. Finn's security company protected them all, while Alex's law firm managed their legal interests. "Did you see the notice?" Finn asked quietly. "About Mom's art show?" The small gallery where Serafina worked occasionally let her display pieces. Her art had grown darker over the years, heavy with themes of regret and lost chances. Critics called it powerfully melancholic. Her children never attended. She tried to send Emma a birthday gift, Lily revealed. "Left it at reception. Standard procedure," Stone replied. All gifts from Serafina went through rigorous security screening before being donated unopened to charity. The annual family photo on Stone's desk showed his legacy: 3 successful children, a beloved granddaughter, siblings who'd become partners in empire building. The price of entry into this fortress of love was absolute loyalty. David, still Stone's most trusted friend, had expanded his tech consulting into a multinational firm. He maintained the surveillance network that kept their family safe, teaching Finn the skills that would eventually make him a tech pioneer. "Emma's ballet recital is next week," Lily mentioned. "We've updated the security protocols." Stone nodded approvingly. His children had learned well. Trust must be protected by vigilance. Even Emma understood basics like stranger danger and information security, taught through age-appropriate lessons. The afternoon sun painted patterns through the bulletproof glass as Stone watched Emma color. His empire had grown beyond revenge into a legacy of protection and power. Every building he designed, every contract he signed, strengthened the walls around his family. "Grandpa, why is that lady always watching our house?" Stone met Lily's eyes. They'd known this conversation would come. Emma was observant, like her Uncle Finn. Sometimes, Stone explained carefully, people make choices that hurt their family. And those choices have consequences that last forever, like timeout. Emma's innocent comparison made Lily's lips twitch. "Something like that." Stone smoothed his granddaughter's hair. "But we protect each other, don't we? Always." Emma's serious nod mimicked her grandfather's expression perfectly. Later, reviewing security footage, Stone watched Serafina leaving the gallery. 20 years had aged her, but she still carried herself like the artist who'd once thought suburbia beneath her. Her small apartment above the gallery had become its own kind of prison, one built of consequences rather than bars. "The book deal fell through," David reported. "Publisher got cold feet after Alex's warning. She'll try again." Stone's voice held certainty. She never could accept limitations. His phone chimed, the family group chat announcing Rosie's engagement. His youngest had chosen carefully, vetting her fiancé with Finn's help before accepting the proposal. Trust, but verify, the family way. The engagement party would need extra security. Stone began making arrangements automatically, 2 decades of vigilance ingrained into habit. "Mr. Stone?" His assistant interrupted. "Your grandson's ultrasound photos arrived." Lily was expecting her second child, a boy this time. The next generation of the legacy Stone had built from betrayal's ashes. The sun set over the city he'd helped shape, glinting off buildings that bore his architectural signature. In his reflection, Stone saw not the wounded man from Miller's Ridge, but the architect of an unbreakable family dynasty. His phone buzzed, another attempt by Serafina to contact the children. Another failure. Some bridges, once burned, could never be rebuilt. But from those ashes, Stone had forged something stronger. His children understood that love meant protection, that trust must be earned, that family loyalty was everything. Emma's drawing lay on his desk, a house design that mixed childish creativity with surprising sophistication. The next generation of builders, carrying his legacy forward. Stone smiled faintly. Let Serafina write her books. Let Cyril plot in prison. Their betrayal had taught his family the most valuable lesson. True strength comes not from forgiveness, but from turning scars into armor. The Stone family legacy would continue, built on a foundation of unshakable loyalty and protected by walls of hard-earned wisdom, just as he'd always planned. Some might call it ruthless. Stone called it love, and he'd never apologize for either. This is where our story comes to an end. Share your thoughts in the comments section. Thanks for your time. If you enjoy this story, please subscribe to this channel. Click on the video you see on the screen, and I will see you there.